guys, it's Pressley. Welcome back to Cool Conversations podcast. Today we have a very special guest, Brynn.
Hi.
This is probably a crazy crossover for a lot of you guys. I'm sure everyone who's watching this probably knows who Brynn is, but do you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Brynn. You probably know me from the same show Pressley was on. I bet you can guess it. I don't even have to say it. But yeah, I'm sure we have a lot to relate on.
Yes, we really do. Okay, so if you guys just happen to not know, Brynn and I were both on Dance Moms, but on different seasons of the show. Which ones were you on?
I was on, my first episode, I was on season 5,
Okay.
but then I was, consistently on it in 6 and 7.
Got you. Yeah, and then I did season 8, which was, I don't even know, a couple years after. And yeah, so I think this is probably, so weird for people to see us. I don't think people know that we know each other.
Probably not.
Because we met recently.
Yeah, we did.
Did we meet in a Pilates class?
Probably.
I think so. I think we officially met
yeah.
at Pilates house.
Yeah. I was like, I know who you are, but hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah, obviously I grew up watching the show. That's why I auditioned for it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think still it was so cool for me to be able to meet you guys after. But yeah, now we know each other, and this is probably so funny for people to see. But let's just before we get into it, let's go back to the beginning for you. When did you originally start dancing? Because that's how you you were a competitive dancer before even being on the show, right?
I started dancing when I was 2. My first class, I don't even remember. Obviously, my mom just threw me in there because I wasn't good at anything else. So she's like, maybe she'll be good at dance. And I always tell this story because I hated dance. I was the kid who was crying in the corner.
Me too.
That was me.
That was literally me. My mom put me in a dance class because she owned a dance studio.
Yeah.
And I hated it. I cried the whole entire year up until dance recital, and I was like,
your mom's like, no, she has to love dance.
That's literally what she says all the time when she tells this story. She was like, she's gonna dance.
Yeah.
She has to. But yeah, I think that's actually so funny.
Sometimes the kids that turn out to be, pretty good dancers are the ones that hated it. So yeah, I definitely was the one that hated it, would cry every time. And then, I just stuck to it, and that's basically what I've done my whole entire life.
Yeah, and then you did competitive dance, right?
Yeah.
How old were you when you started?
I started competing probably when I was 6. I had my first solo when I was 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I just, ever since then, I'm from Arizona.
Yeah.
And so, I feel Arizona, California, West Coast studios are super competitive.
Yes,
So.
I'm not from here. I'm from New Jersey, and it was chill. It was
way different.
Not that big. It was whatever. It wasn't that big of a deal. But here, it's insane. So the huge difference, moving here for dance and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's super cool. Okay, so then obviously you did. How old were you when you first did the show? When did you start? I don't know what age.
I think my first episode, I must have been 10,
Mm-hmm.
but then officially cast member on the show, I was 11.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, and then you did it until you were 14 or something.
13.
13. Yeah.
13. Yeah, because I was going into high school, so I was 13.
Yeah. Did you go back to regular high school
Yeah.
after the show? Okay, so I was gonna say, what
I
was
did.
your experience after doing it? Because you were 13, still obviously still so young. So what was it like coming out of the show?
It was definitely weird. It was my decision, and I could have gone and stayed in LA and tried to whatever, but I was no, I want to go to school and I want to be with my friends. And I always say definitely the hardest part of navigating just normal life after the show, because I think some people forget how huge Dance Moms is.
Yeah, I think I forget sometimes too.
It's actually the biggest reality show,
Which is insane.
still.
It's crazy.
So
People
crazy.
still are watching it all the time, and it's just it's insane.
Yeah, it's just hard to comprehend.
Yes.
Anyways, so I think there was a lot of people who wanted to be my friend just because they thought I was famous, which I don't consider myself famous, but
Yes.
And so just boys being stupid in high school and whatever. But yeah, I kind of struggled to make friends in high school. I have a couple of my close friends, but just from going going from doing online school for only 2 hours in the morning and then being on camera all day to going to 6 hours of high school, it was definitely hard.
No, I could only imagine because I started homeschool when I was in 6th grade. I actually started it before I even knew if I was going to do the show because I was just like, I want to be homeschooled.
Right.
And I could only imagine. Like, I just did it through the rest of high school and whatever, and I didn't want to go back. But, like, yeah, I could only imagine what that was like. And even, like, coming out of it for me, like, trying to make friends, like, outside, it's so hard.
It's so weird.
It really is so hard. And it's so weird to, like, be, like, normal sometimes. So, I don't know. And obviously, like, we were on the same show, but I'm sure we had very different experiences. Because for me, I just did it for 6 months and I was out.
Yeah.
But, like, it was a couple years for you. So, like, not to, like talk too much about it because it's, like, whatever. But, like, what was, like, your full experience like on the show? Because, like, I'm sure it looked very different than mine.
Yeah. So, I think at least just, like, comparing, you know, like, the new season 8 to, like, when I came on. Like, I was already coming on to, like, a whole, like, cast that was, like, has been there for, like, so many years. Yeah. And, like, I think people forget my mom's job and I like our job was to come on and like create chaos. Like that's literally what my mom was hired to do.
Yeah.
And they told her like, you know, if you don't cause this and this, then you don't have to be on the show. We'll let you guys go.
Right.
And so, you know, she just like did her job and like a lot of the times it just meant causing fights, which I mean, I literally came on the show and Abby's like, yep, this is the new Maddie. And I'm like, what the
Wonderful.
I didn't sign up for this. That's not what I wanted to do. So, yeah, it was definitely a hard experience. I think compared to the whole history of Dance Moms, like my situation going on was pretty awful because I feel like a lot of the moms were genuinely horrible to me. Like horrible. Yeah. And I didn't realize it at the time because I was like not in reality. I'm like, oh, it's just a TV show. Da, da, da. But then I watched some clips back. Like, damn, they're so mean to me.
Yeah, it's insane to watch back. To be honest, I don't even think I fully watched my whole season because I was like, after doing it, I was like, I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
But like now, I still don't really want to. But like, I don't know. I think that it's people also like forget. Like my mom owned a dance studio, so she did not like crazy dance moms. So like she was not that. So like I think that like people also like forget. Like it's like yes, like it's not like a scripted show, but like you still like are like doing like you're working things. So like people are also like different than how they are in real life, and like especially your season. Like I feel like for mine, it was obviously I always say this. It was two completely different. Like it was the same show, but two completely different things and completely different experiences for at least the people on the show. Because like it just was different. Like none of us knew each other going into it, and like it was a whole new team, a whole new thing. And I feel like our season portrayed people kind of how they really were, and yours I don't really think did, because I've met pretty much all of the girls outside of it, and I'm like, you guys are all so nice, and you're so like I don't know, I think it's very different.
Yeah,
for
it
both
is
of
different.
us.
I think I saw a couple clips from your season, and I don't like there wasn't history with you guys, so the producers were trying to like make something of nothing.
Yes.
And so it was really hard for you guys, especially, I feel like.
Yeah, like coming into it, we literally met at the auditions, but like nobody talked after that.
Right.
And like we met maybe a week before we started filming. Like nobody's gonna have problems with somebody within a week.
Right.
Like, I don't think.
Yeah.
And so it was like it was hard. It was hard to like create like that like dynamic that like the show already had like with people that you don't even really know.
Right.
So I think like as it like went on, obviously like people like started like actually finding things to like fight about, but from the beginning it was like weird because we're all like, okay, like
you're like, this is great, this is fun, and the producers are like, no,
this
we
is
have to
not
ruin
fun.
all of it.
This is not fun, because for all of us, like my whole entire cast grew up watching the show, so it was like more of like a dream come true type thing, and everybody was just happy to be there. But then they're like, no, okay, we gotta like make something like work.
Yeah.
So it is very different, which I try and like say like all the time. But it did do great things for us to become whatever we wanted it to be.
Exactly.
So like at the end of the day, it got us to where we are.
Exactly.
But so rewind. After you got off the show, you finished high school, and then you moved to California recently, right? Okay, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So how long have you been here officially?
I just moved here. What month is it? March, April. May. I moved here in May. So
wow.
like literally not even a year. I was just talking to somebody, I can't remember, but I was like, I'm not sure. I feel like when you move to LA, like you have to like really adjust. And I'm like, I don't know if I like it yet. Like,
Yeah.
it's a little chaotic and stressful.
Yes, it's very different living here than visiting.
Yeah, it
I
is.
feel like, because I went back and forth from when I was like 8, and then I officially moved in like right after COVID. So I've been here for like 4 years, and the first like year or so, I was like, this is like so like whatever, and then I was like, hey, wait, I actually like live here. Like this is like normal now. Like
Yeah.
it took a lot to like adjust, like especially coming from like a small town. It's like
Yeah.
it's very different, but. Like, how have you, like, other than, like, the chaos of it, like, what have you thought of, like, California so far and, like, the whole, like, move and everything?
I mean, I, like, love California. I feel like anybody who lives here, you know, it's, like, so many people dream of, like, just visiting here. So it's weird that I live and I can, like, see the Hollywood sign. Like, that's so weird to me.
Yes.
I'm like, wow, like, people literally come visit here and I live here. I think it was, like, important for me to find, like, a routine because I moved from Arizona, and like when I lived in Arizona, I was working like 6 days a week. I'm a dance teacher and choreographer, so like I love, you know, my schedule. Like I had a set schedule every week, and moving here, I kind of just like took a risk, and I was like, I don't want to work. I want to just like work on my social media and kind of figure it out. And so it's been hard for me to not have like a set schedule.
Yeah.
Like I feel so lazy and unproductive when I'm like not.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go back to a little bit more like teaching and choreography just because I like it a lot. And yeah, so still trying to like figure out, you know.
Like adjust.
Yeah. Still adjusting.
It's a big adjustment.
Yeah,
like it's like such a big city and a big place with so much going on. And like I feel like coming from literally anywhere, maybe except New York or like whatever, it's like very, very different.
It is.
So, okay, like you said you're a dance teacher, choreographer. Is that like where you see yourself like going, or like where do you see yourself in like 5-10 years? Like what's like your goal for yourself? Like big question, but like what is it for you think?
That is a good question. Definitely, I think I have a gift for choreography. You know, all dancers are talented, and some people are better at, you know, just like teaching little kids and I feel like I have like a very creative like brain kind of. Yeah. So I definitely see myself, you know, maybe even teaching at a convention one day or just getting booked for choreography. I really like doing choreography. Who knows where I'll live though? Yeah. Who knows?
Honestly, but that's like kind of like so fun though that you really just like are like down for whatever, and I think that that's so cool. And honestly, choreography is so, I'm not the type of person, I don't think I could ever choreograph. Like it's so difficult. So like it's such a huge thing, and I definitely think that's awesome. Okay, so now that like, you know, we've gotten to like know you fully or whatever, this whole point of my podcast was to create like a space for people, like especially like teenagers and whatever, because this is like where we're growing and learning the most, to talk about like the things that are kind of like not so fun to talk about, because nobody, like, I just want everybody to know that they're not really alone when going through all these things, and like everybody changes and everybody grows and everybody has like things that they're dealing with. So like each episode I try and like talk about like something, and I thought that a good episode for us, like both being dancers, whatever, is like people pleasing, because that's like a huge part of like, at least for me, like I've always like, I feel like growing up as a dancer and whatever, looking for validation in other people. Yeah. So okay, first question is, why do you think people pleasers have a strong desire for approval and validation from others? Like, where do you think that really stems from? Because I know for me, it stems from like being a dancer, and I know that's the same thing for you. And
yeah, no, I'd agree. It definitely, I actually saw a video a couple days ago, and it was like, you know, the trend on TikTok where it's like, you're so funny, and then it's like, thanks, I da-da-da, it's like a trauma dump. There was one, it was like, thanks, I grew up staring at myself in a mirror like next to all these other little teeny tiny girls, and like teachers correcting you all the time. And so I think naturally I just built this like really like anxious type A personality. Like I needed to be perfect all the time, just because when you're, you know, choreographing a routine in class, like you're always being corrected. And so it definitely affected like my whole entire life. I still struggle daily with just like chill out, dude. Like calm down. But yeah, it definitely just stemmed from dance for me, which I think a lot of dancers struggle with. But even just like, even if you're not a dancer, like if you had parents growing up that were always super tough on you, and you thought that you had to be your best self all the time, I think that's really hard. But like the good thing about like growing up and like moving out is like you realize these things about yourself.
Yeah.
And like sometimes they're hard realizations to make, especially dating my boyfriend. He has made me realize things about myself that I didn't know that were issues about me. Not in a bad way, in a very good way, a very healthy good way, and I'm so grateful for it. But I'm like, dang, I really need to like self-reflect and like, you know, but it helps like get those things off your shoulders, and you know, you're not gonna fix them in like, you know, 24 hours. It takes a really long time.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I think that like it's just also a part of like growing up is realizing these things. Is like you're kind of like when you're younger, I don't know. I don't feel like I was really like thinking about like where does this come from and why am I feeling like I was just like, okay, like I'll move on, like whatever,
right.
like keep going. But like now, like as I've like gotten older and I'm like trying to like, you know, be the best version of myself, it's like I think that I don't think I really ever took the time to like really like reflect on like myself and like different things, because also I feel like with dance it's kind of like it was always like go 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 for me, and it was like growing up in a very like disciplined like structure or whatever. It was just like you just kind of like take it and move on and you figure it out later,
right?
So I think that like it's just a part of growing up as well. And like I think that people pleasing is in everyone too.
Yes.
Like I don't think that there's, I mean, maybe there is a person that really doesn't really care about what other people think or like isn't looking for validation, but I think it's in everyone and it's never fully gonna go away.
Yeah.
But I think that like just like being comfortable with yourself is like the most important thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I always catch myself like what's a good example? Oh, like I'm gonna walk into this event and everyone's gonna stare at me because I'm not wearing the right like clothes. Literally nobody cares. But my brain's always like, oh my gosh, like try not to like make it full attention.
No, and I think it's just like people are so like worried about themselves and they're thinking the exact same thing that you're thinking, that they're not like, I don't like look at somebody when they're walking and they're like, oh, what are they wearing?
No.
Like, like I don't care. I'm too worried about if people are doing that to me.
Literally.
So I think that that's like important to realize. It's like literally people are thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah,
all
it's
the
so
time.
True.
So it's like it's really not that big of, but it's so much easier said than done.
Yeah,
like, I say this all the time and I'm like, I still do it.
Yeah, me
like,
too.
I still do.
Yeah, same.
But okay, what do you think are like the costs of people pleasing, and do you think it can really be like detrimental? Whoa, big word. Detrimental to like yourself and also like your like different like for friendships and relationships and like your career and everything?
Yeah, 100%. I think especially with relationships, you can only like help somebody so much, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And like you can like love somebody through and through and really care about them and like try to help them, you know, like let's for people pleasing, for example, just like reminding them all the time, and sometimes it can get exhausting, if that makes sense. Yeah. And like, but then that's also like like everything's tied together. That's also like an anxiety thought, like, oh my gosh, like he's literally hates me because like I think everyone cares about me all the time. Like it's not like that, but it really does affect like so many things. And it's not like you have to like change or fix it, but I think just realizing it even helps like so much.
100%.
And that it's okay, and like literally everyone does it, like you were saying. But I think to have that person that you can like talk to and like talk through things. And I'm not a talker. I will take everything to my grave. Yep. I hate talking, especially about my problems. I'm like, 100%. I don't even have a problem. Like, what are we talking about? I don't have a problem. So that's been hard for me, but I'm getting a little bit better about talking about my issues. So it's getting a little better. But yeah, it's definitely also detrimental to like self-confidence. But again, the first step is just realizing.
100%.
Realizing it is like 80% of the battle, I feel like.
100%. Because it takes you a long time to like really like think about, like, even I was talking about this before with like friendships and other people. Like if you're in a friendship and you like express how you feel and like people like actually realize like what they're doing like hurts you or like vice versa, like that's huge. And that's like such a huge step towards like building a better friendship and building a better relationship, whatever. But it kind of goes hand in hand with yourself. Like once you like really realize like what's going on or like what you're thinking or what you're feeling, it helps you like figure it out. Yeah, because you can't do anything about it if you don't know what's going on. Right. So I think that like having someone to talk too is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Which I also hate doing that. I hate talking about my feelings.
I hate it.
I'm like, I don't know. It's just not like my favorite thing, but it's super important. I think that that's also like needs to be normalized. Like it's okay to talk about how you feel and like to other people as well. Like I also was talking about this before. Like if like somebody's doing something that's like hurting you or bothering you, whatever, and you don't say anything, it's never gonna be fixed because they don't know.
Yeah, can't read your mind.
No, like you can't just like expect people to like know what you're feeling if you don't talk about it. So like communication, I feel like it all really does go hand in hand. But this is literally the exact same thing, like a question that I had literally just talked about it. But do you quiet yourself to avoid conflict in like different relationships? Because I know I do. I will just not say anything because I'm like, I don't want to have to like talk about it or like have this like back and forth.
Right.
Like I don't know if you're like the same way or like you will tell somebody like how it is so you can like figure it out.
I feel like I definitely like pick and choose which battles I want to fight. Yeah. Because I'm definitely like a little confrontational and not in like, you know, I feel like some people think confrontational people are just like mean sometimes, which maybe that's true. But I definitely like think before I talk. I'm like, okay, does this really affect our relationship? If it doesn't, it really doesn't matter to bring it up. That was actually my boyfriend and I had like a talk. This is like a little while ago. But I feel like we were being like over cautious about talking through things. So then we were talking about things that I was like, why are we talking about this? Like, I feel like we don't need to discuss this because it's not detrimental or it doesn't benefit our relationship at all. Yeah. So I feel like sometimes not biting your tongue, but just being like, you know what? That was not a big deal. I'm not going to bring it up because it's not worth it and it doesn't matter. But definitely some things that really like aggravate me, I will vocalize. Yeah. And it's all about how you bring it up, but yeah.
That's good. That's actually a lot better than not saying anything because then you can grow and change and figure it out. But like if you don't say anything, this is my problem. I don't say anything and then I just like
it's hard.
I just sit there and then it all like bottles up. Yeah. And then it becomes a way bigger thing. Like this has happened to me like before with like friends and I just let it go. I'm like, oh, okay. And then just like don't say anything. And then it all builds up and one thing kind of just like sets it all off. And then it's just like
they're like, whoa.
They're like, I had no idea. And I'm like, oh, like, yeah, like, this is something that I need to take all this like, advice for myself. Yeah. But, like, I think that, like, standing up for yourself and, like, if something is bothering you, you talk about it right away. Don't let it just, like, go on and drag on because it just gets worse. So I think that's very helpful. But I literally keep saying the same thing that I've written down. But do you think you can still be, like, I think you can still be nice without being a people pleaser, but like I feel like that has like that like concept. I feel like people are like, oh, but if I'm not like people pleasing, I'm not like coming off as like nice or whatever. But I think you can do both. I don't know if you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I feel like there's a difference between like people pleasing and like wanting to do it for yourself, obviously. And so like I think when you do things for yourself that make you happy, you just automatically give off this like good like what's the word? What do they call?
Like a good vibe.
Yeah, you just have like a good vibe to you, like when you feel good about yourself. And when I feel like the people who I know that could care less what people think about them, that just like wake up every day and they do whatever they want, like they just have such a good vibe to them. Yeah, you know. Yeah, I aspire to be like them one day. I feel like I have days like that though sometimes, but it's just I just grew up with like an anxious personality, and so in the back of my head, I'm always like, but what if, and I hate what ifs. Yeah. Get rid of the what ifs.
I hate it. And I think that kind of like, it stops you from like being the best version of yourself. And that's like, it's so frustrating to me because I'm the same way. Like, I would like to think I don't really care what other people think, but I know that's not true because I've always been like that my whole life. Like, I've always like been like, okay, like I really hope that like, I don't know, some days people's like, I really think that they think my hair looks good, or like I really think I like my hair, like my outfit. I'm like, but no, I should be like, I think I look good, and like that's all that really matters. Yeah. So I think that there's a difference between being nice and being a people pleaser. I don't think it's the same thing.
No, definitely not.
No, and
not
like
at all.
I feel like the people that are so like confident in themselves and happy with themselves, whatever, are the nicest people. Yeah, in my opinion, people that do stuff for themselves, right, come off as like nicer anyways. So,
I've talked about this before, but just like confidence, we were talking about this theory that like even if your confidence is fake, you'll like eventually start to believe it, which is
100%.
actually true.
Yeah.
Like even some of the most confident people ever, they'll be like, "Oh, I literally put on a show."
Yeah.
And you're like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, but I believe it now." Like,
yeah.
You walk in thinking you're the hottest in the room, and then you are. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's so true. That's something my mom always told me when I was younger. Because I, like, growing up as a dancer, having, like, a lot of confidence is kind of rare. Like, I feel like I always had, like, a little bit of confidence issues and whatever. It's just because
It's just how it is.
It just really is how it is.
Yeah.
But my mom was like, well, you have to fake your confidence, and that's the only way that it's going to, like, work. She's like, even if you don't feel like your best right now or you are nervous, she was like, you have to, like, fake it till you make it. And, like, that's been, like, engraved in my brain my whole life.
Fake it till you make it. Like, I was just going to say that. My dance teacher used to drill that in our brains. Like,
that's literally it. Like, even when I went on Dance Moms, I was so nervous. I was, like, walking into this studio with, like, all these cameras. I was like, this is insanity.
Yeah.
I don't really think I faked it at all because you can definitely, I was not. Like, as like the show went on, my confidence probably just got a little destroyed. But, like, besides the point, like, that's the point. I tried to fake it until I just, anyways, fake it till you make it, guys. Like, I just think that that's, like, the best thing to do.
It is,
like,
it's true.
It really does work most of the time, I think.
It does.
Okay. So, like, I think that something that people find hard is, like, creating boundaries while trying to, like, please other people. And that's, like, the hardest thing is, like, when you're trying to please other people, it's really easy to let people, like, walk all over you.
Mm-hmm.
That's, like, literally what happens. So, like, how do you think you can create boundaries to prioritize your needs instead of others?
Mm-hmm. I think first it's, like, what we were saying earlier, like, realizing what's good for you and what's not good for you. And sometimes what's not good for you is, like, the hardest things to get rid of, even if it's a best friend or something stupid like a social media app that you're using and you hate going on it. Like, it could be, like, you know, something so small or something so big. Even though it's, like, so hard to get rid of that thing, once you do, it's, like, your life literally changes. It's really crazy. And not saying you have to, like, let's say it's a person, not saying you have to cut off this person and be like, you're horrible. You don't like add anything to my life. Like, I'm cutting you off. It's not like that. It's just like, you know, you can slowly drift away from people and you grow up and your lives don't match anymore and you can't relate to each other anymore. And it's not a bad thing. So I think there's ways to go about that. But you will see a change in yourself if you, like, start to cut off those things that aren't good for you. And even if it's something so hard, like, just as an example, this isn't, like, me personally, but, like, let's say you have a really, really, really bad relationship with your mom. Because I know people who have really bad relations with their mom. And they just had to, like, take a break. They had to step back for, like, even if it's for, like, a couple months or a couple weeks, and they're just like, my life is so much better. Like, I just needed to, like, step away and breathe. And sometimes just the hardest things are, you know, the hardest things to let go of. But it really helps you. Yeah,
it really does. And I think that, like, it's happened to me before with friendships where, like, I have, like, a really, like, best friend. And, like, I just, like, I don't realize that, like, it's really not that great for me. Like, I feel like I've been in a situation where, like, I had, like, a really close friend and I kind of felt like I was, like, changing, like, based off of, like, them, like, how they were, like, acting and whatever. And I was like, I need to take a step away from it, like, whatever. And even within, like, a couple weeks, I was like, wow. Like, I feel, like, so different. Like, I feel better and, like, I'm acting better. And, like, my other friendships have gotten so much stronger because I think that, like, even just a little bit of time, like, away and taking the time for yourself is huge. So I think, like, I agree. I think that honestly, with anything, prioritizing yourself in life is just the most important thing. And, like, you'll see such a growth with literally everything in your life if you do things for yourself rather than for other people, which is way easier said than done.
It is.
But, like,
that's true.
It's insane. So, like, where would you say you kind of are on your, like, people pleasing journey? Like, do you think that you're, like, I mean, I'm sure you've gotten better as you've grown up and, like, whatever, but, like,
I feel like especially since I moved to LA. Like when I was back home in Arizona, I was like comfortable. Like it's my hometown. I know everybody. I know where, like I know all the places. And so I felt really comfortable there and with myself. And then moving here is just like such a different environment. I definitely like hate drawing attention to myself when I'm here. Like if I was in Arizona, I'd walk into a party and be like, guys, I'm here, like hi, like saying hi to everybody. But then here I'm like, oh my gosh, she just gave me the dirtiest look ever. And it's like, no, she probably didn't even see you, like relax. So I think like since I've moved here, I've definitely taken some steps back, which that's okay. It's very different. And also I feel like you run into people here that are not that authentic. And so it definitely affects you. You know what I mean?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, especially when you see somebody online that you're like, oh my gosh, I love her. And then you see her in person, you're like, oh, she's not that nice. Which so many people think that about LA, but like it's true.
It really is true.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I'm definitely still on that journey. Which it's okay.
I think everybody is, honestly. I don't think that you're really going to ever get to a point, maybe, that you'll get to a point where you're like, so it's like doesn't even matter anymore,
right?
Because I feel like even when you feel like super confident and you're doing things for yourself, like you're always gonna have those moments where you're kind of like back in your head. Like even like you said, like coming here, it took a few steps back. Like that's so normal. Like even being in like different environments or like when you do different things or whatever, it's gonna change,
right?
So I think that's normal, but like it just, as long as you're like prioritizing yourself and trying to do your best, like that's really all that matters, you know?
I always have the feeling of, I don't know if you ever get this feeling, but every time I go to like an event or like somewhere like where there's like a lot of like influences there, I get so nervous to go because I'm gonna be like, everyone's gonna think that I'm like don't even belong here, like I don't even belong here. I was like, why do I think that?
I think that all the time, even when I'm going to like literally anything, like it's, even
like,
with like,
why is she here?
Yeah,
nobody cares actually.
No, everybody is so focused on themselves and what they're doing, and they're so like about themselves that they literally do not care about what you're doing. It like they do not care. And I think that took me so long to realize that like everybody's in their own heads, everybody is so focused on themselves, and they literally they do not care if you're wearing jeans or if you're wearing a dress or if you're wearing a skirt or if your hair's up or down. Like it does not matter. So I think that's been something that I've had to learn. Like when I first moved here, I was so nervous to like do literally anything or like even go to like a dance class here. Like it's so much more intimidating.
I've been to like one and I haven't gone again.
It's so
I want to go though.
It's intimidating, especially going by yourself, because I grew up in a dance studio where I was going to class every day with the same people, and I knew what I was doing. I knew the teachers, like whatever. And like I don't think like people like realize when you come here, it's different every single time.
Yeah, it is.
It's a different unless you're going to like a competitive studio, but most of it is like a different teacher, a whole different group of people, and like maybe some people that go every week, and then like they know the teacher, and then it's like,
no, it's scary.
It's so scary. It's so scary. I remember I took my first class here, and I was like, this is so scary. My first class was at ALDCLA here. Isn't that crazy?
Wait, like the small one?
No, the big one.
Oh, when it used to be big still.
Yes, the one that had like
the gold wall.
Yeah, and like the tumble track or
whatever.
Oh,
the tumble track and the silks.
That was my first class with Guy.
That's here, so funny.
Which is insane. But like, yeah, like also walking in there, I was like,
you're like, what the?
I was like, this is insane.
So weird.
It's crazy, but
I literally lived there for like 2 years,
which is insane.
Like on the tumble track, I lived there.
I thought when I auditioned for the show that we were going to be in California.
Yeah, why were you guys? That never made sense to me. Why you guys were back in Pittsburgh?
It made no sense. We literally had no clue. We auditioned, whatever. We made it to like the end, and my mom and I were like, okay, like we're gonna move to California. This is gonna be so cool.
Pittsburgh.
By the way, we found out from an Instagram post. Like the Instagram post that she made, like with like the video or whatever, that's how I found out I got on the show.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I literally, like, we did the whole audition, took like a whole year. We did like Zooms or Skype or whatever it was
called.
You
guys did you go to like an open call audition? What was your first audition?
Okay, so it was, my mom went to dance studio, and she used to have like guest teachers come in, and she had Guy and Gianna come. And Gianna was like, oh, she's the perfect age for like the new show they're casting, whatever. So we like submitted. It was like an online submission thing. And then it was a video like submission after that, and then a Skype call with like one of the producers who I don't even know if they ended up like doing the show or whatever.
Yeah.
And then a phone call, multiple, and then that live audition here.
Yeah.
It was like a whole process. And then here it was like 21 kids, and they brought it down to like 11, and then they ended up having 7.
Geez.
But we auditioned in the summer, and then I didn't find out till January. So I thought I just didn't get it. Because I was like, that's like months and months and months. But yeah, I was at a dance convention. I was at Jump. And it was so random. I had just gotten like a bloody nose. So I was sitting down on the side of the class, and I was just like sitting there. And my dad like showed me his phone, and I started like screaming. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I literally found out from there, and it was like, get ready to go to Pittsburgh.
A post?
A post.
That's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
it's very random.
That's very interesting.
And then like they're like, yeah, 2 weeks, go to Pittsburgh. We were like, what? In the dead winter? Like literally it was January.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is insane. I know, and I was so mad. I was like, I wanted to be at the studio with a tumble track. Like,
yeah,
that's all
what?
I wanted.
That is crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. And you started in California, right?
Yeah. Well, my first episode ever, I was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And then we like left, and then we came back. But then they ended. We like randomly went back to Pittsburgh.
Right.
I don't remember.
I thought that's where.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
It was freezing, and we were staying in a hotel, so I hated it.
It was like honestly, it's not even in like Pittsburgh. It's not. It's
like where are we?
It was the most like random place, but you know, it's all part of the experience. I kind of wish though I did it in California. Like that would have been so much more like.
Yeah, I literally used to live at like. All of us lived at the Palazzo Apartments across from the Grove.
I know. That's what they were like. Gianna was telling us. She was like, yeah, we used to live like at like the Grove or whatever. And I was like, oh.
Like, that's so random.
That's insane.
Like what? And it's weird because now I live so close to that. And it's like, I used to have this whole life here when I was like 11.
Yeah, that's
so
actually
weird.
insane because then like you're like coming back and like you kind of already lived here for a little bit.
I know.
So
it is weird.
That's strange, actually. I forgot that you guys were here. Oh, must have been so nice to be in
California.
California.
It was
like,
nice.
The sun. And like not in Pittsburgh.
It was so fun.
But yeah, you know.
The only thing I'm sad about that I wish I could have been a part of during the show was like any of the promo pictures. I'm not in one.
What?
Yeah. So sad.
Wait, why? Is it because it was like it wasn't like season like 7A or 7B or like
yeah,
something like that?
whatever like BS that was. Like I don't know, but like they didn't want me in the like cuz we already filmed episodes and then they did the promo shoot. Like have you seen the one of them like on the bikes in Santa Monica cuz they like went to California?
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to be in it because like nobody was supposed to know that I was like coming. And I was like, "Wait, that's so sad. I'll never be in one."
Wait, that's honestly not so like what I wish I wasn't in mine because ours is so
isn't
ugly.
yours like you're all dancing?
No, we're all in like silver and we're like,
oh yeah, and it like looks like Game of Thrones. That's what I thought. She looks like a.
It was so bad, and I remember they put like, do you know like the donut that like makes like the bun?
Yeah. Were
on
you guys
top
wearing
of
them like this?
Yes, they like slicked my head with like this big donut, and they
Oh,
put
yeah,
us
you
in
guys were like
so ugly.
That's
and they
so
put us
funny.
in these like silver leotards with silver leggings. So and then they put poor Gianna in the bun, the slick back bun.
Oh yeah, why was
She's
Gianna
in the promo? Like we're all like this, and like making a circle around Abby, and Gianna's like one of the kids. It's so weird.
Wait, I never realized that. Yeah, why was Gianna?
No, they really did us so dirty. Like
that is so funny.
It was so bad, and they had us do it in silver and in gold, and it was both horrible. There was no other concept outside of just that photo, and I'm like, okay. It's so bad.
Wait, that's so funny, actually.
No. So I kind of wish that maybe I wasn't because I'm like, that's horrible.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, it's honestly so crazy to think about that. Like that even happened. Like that feels like such a blur of my life for me.
I
like,
know.
People like ask me, and I'm like, oh, they're like, how was it? Or like, what was your favorite part? And I'm like, I don't remember any of it. Honestly, like I don't think I remember anything. Like I remember like we used to have fun like on like the bus and like stuff like that, but like the rest I don't even remember. Like people would be like, oh, it's so funny, like see like the one part where you like something I'm like,
you're like, that happened?
I'm like, that happened? Like that's insane.
Yeah,
but
it's weird.
It's so weird. Like it's such a weird thing to think about. But
it was like 10 years ago. At least my last episode was like 10 years ago.
That's insane. Yeah, I guess mine was it is coming up on 6.
Yeah.
Or it is 6, I guess, this like month or whatever. Which is so weird. It's so strange.
A decade? Like you.
It's so weird to think about. But like now like watching like, oh my God, I was so little. I don't even think I like realized how like young I was now. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy that people are still watching it.
I know, and still talking about it. I'm like, wow.
It's insane. Like, I'll see TikToks about it from, like, people that post, like, I'm like, oh, they posted that today? They're still watching this. So, like, that's insane. It's insane. Crazy. Okay, well, last part is, like, on every episode of my podcast, I like to do a little thing called Dear Pressley, which is we started this thing where people can submit, like, anything that they want to talk about, or any questions that they have, or anything that they're going through. And I'll try my best to, like, give advice on, like, whatever. So this one I thought was perfect because it's a girl who's a dancer. She said she's currently a junior in high school and she competed as a dancer for 11 years. And this past year, she struggled with anxiety due to the pressure. She struggled with anxiety due to the pressure she was under as a dancer. People were jealous of her and the environment became really negative. She quit dance at the end of the year and didn't receive much support about her decision from her studio, which made her feel like she made the right choice. And then she said she made the school's varsity a cappella pop group, which is singing and dancing, but she really misses dancing and because it's something she loves and she doesn't want to lose that part of me. So she wants to she said, sometimes I question myself if I made the right decision. How am I able to continue my dance career successfully on my own and not having to go back there?
Mm-hmm. That's actually really good because I feel like I can relate to it a lot. Like I quit dancing at least competitively at a studio. Like I made the decision to leave my studio when I was 13. So I was like freshman in high school and I was really doing the like just high school dance and I feel like I had a lot of fun and I definitely had moments where I was like, wait, I really miss competing. Like I miss being at the studio. But then I had to remind myself like, but also I feel like I'm way happier now. And so I would say if she's happier now, then you're on the right track. And you can always train independently. Like always. I did that. I know so many people that did that and still made college dance teams. Like if that's your goal to make a college dance team, you can still take like independent ballet classes. I feel like there's so many options now. I feel like even maybe like when I was younger, like it wasn't really as accessible as it is now. Like especially if she's just a junior in high school now, like girl, you got time. Like, you're good. But just say like keep training on your own and you know figure out what you want to do in a couple years and then align whatever you need to do to get there. But it sounds like acapella pop group sounds
that
fun.
Sounds so much more fun. Like I quit competitive dance when I was 12. Like after the show I was like I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I honestly think it was the best decision I could have made because I was able to do everything else I wanted to do. So I think that like if you felt like that was right to do, then like stick with that and like literally it is so much easier now to train on your own. Like even if there's not like a studio that you can just like go and take classes at where you live, like there's so much online too,
right?
Which is crazy. Like it's a whole like new thing. Like COVID really like did their big one with that one. Like it's all like online now. So I think that there is obviously a way to do it on your own, and also like it's never too late to go back to what you want to do. Like if you wanted to just like try out the like acapella group and do the singing and dancing, then you decide like in a year that's not like really what you wanted, like you can go back.
And
you
can always go back.
You can always go back and it's never too late. So I think that just do whatever makes you the happiest, and if that's also like trying out a different dance studio. If you really wanted to go back to competitive dance, it's okay to change dance studios. That's like,
true.
People like say that it's not like you have to like you never want to be a studio hopper, but like
whatever. No. Who cares?
Like if it's better for you, just do it. You know, there's always other options. So I think that's what I would say.
Yeah, same.
Wait, but this was so much fun. Thank you so much for doing this. It was so much fun. Do you want to like tell everyone where they can find you or anything else you want to say?
Sure. You can just follow me on Instagram at Brynn Rumfallo. And my TikTok's so stupid. Like you should not follow it. It's so stupid.
Your spam account, your second account always comes up on my
like
page.
why?
And it's so funny. I saw one the other day and I was laughing.
I don't even know what my TikTok name is. It's definitely not even my name. It's like I think it's my fake middle name. Fun fact: my real middle name is Erin, but I hate it, so I tell everyone it's Adele. But it's not.
I have a fake middle name too because my middle name was supposed to be Gray, and then my grandma said it was sad, so my mom made it Isabella. But I love Pressley Gray. I think that's so
that's cute.
So I tell people that my middle name is Gray.
Oh, yeah, I faked mine too. So, but actually, my TikTok is Brynn Erin, so that's awkward. From my Instagram, it doesn't say that. So Yeah, I actually get comments like, "What's your middle name?" I'm like, "Whatever you want," because I change it all the time. Whatever.
But yeah, go follow Brynn. She's awesome. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye.